Yes, it's Connections Radio Show, and we're shaking it up with Prince this week, celebrating Prince as well as art. This is part 2. Thank you for staying with us. If you've heard part 1, you heard about the St. Paul Art Crawl with some fabulous artists, and we're going to continue with more fabulous artists. And as many of you know, both AM 950 and the Connections Radio Show is a district sponsor. And it's our way of joining in to help spark imaginations. We believe that art has the power to change our world. Art transforms now more than ever, and our world is in need of transformation. But the district sponsor also fulfills a dream of both Chad Larson, who's our president, and mine. We get to pick art that moves us as being a district sponsor. We get to be curators, and that's been really a very special experience. And we wanted to thank the St. Paul Art Crawl for allowing us to do that and being able to select the art that moves us, and being able then also to have a voice with the artists and sharing about their experiences and what it means to share the work that you do, especially in community. It's really a community adventure in the St. Paul Art Crawl. Over 350 artists, 34 locations, and it spreads all over St. Paul. Now, there is no way that you can go and see all of the art. But what I encourage you to do is think about what you may want to go do. Maybe you want to go be playful and see lots of different types of arts in different regions, or maybe you want to see specific painting. You can look up painters, go on a mission, on a treasure hunt to find the painters that you want to see. You'll find that information at stpaulartcrawl.org. You also will see around the Twin Cities, for those of you who are doing Facebook, we're at Facebook Live, there's a cool map that has all the locations that you can get to. I also want to mention that the Metro Transit is giving free passes. So, hey, don't even have to worry about parking. You can take your Metro Transit all around on Saturday and Sunday. There's also a very lovely catalog, and the catalog gives pictures. It's really almost a piece that you'd want to have on your coffee table. Thank you, my able assistant, Tim. If you're looking at Facebook Live, we've got a beautiful catalog as well. But for today, I've got artists that are going to come and talk to us about the art that they do, why they do it, what they're looking forward to in having the art crawl, and share a little bit about who they are. So first, I'm going to introduce everyone, and I'm going to start with Liz Lang, who is a painter. Welcome, Liz.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
And where's your location?
So I'm going to be showing at the Carlton Artist Lofts.
Terrific. I'm going to go next to Tim Wick.
Hi, that's me.
Now, Tim is a performance artist, and he is the artistic director for Fearless Comedy Productions, and you'll be supporting the Art Crawl this year.
That's right. We're going to be leading an art tour in the Raymond Station District.
With a little bit of a comic twist.
Well, that's what
I'm
we do.
assuming.
That's kind of our thing. It's right in the name.
There you go. And you'll be fearless, right in the name.
Definitely not afraid of walking.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Brenda, now help me with your last name.
Brousseau.
Brenda is the is an artist as well as a co-director for the St. Paul Art Crawl.
That's correct. Thanks for having us here, Lori.
Absolutely. And you're going to be leading some of the tours too, I hear.
No.
You're just going to be hanging out with the tour?
I'm going to go on a tour.
I hear at the end there's a beer.
Oh, yes.
So I'm going to go, and I'm going to make sure I'm going to get the beer.
She's responsible for the beer. She has promised me that.
Oh,
Yes.
Good. And we have Emily Gray Kohler.
Yes.
Emily, you are a printmaker.
Yes, I am a guest artist at Josephine Geiger's studio over on the east side, so excited to participate this year.
And I'm so glad that you're here as well. And I also have Caroline Mecklin.
Glad to be here.
And Caroline's from the Two Harbors once upon a time.
Yes, absolutely.
And do figure work with your painting.
I do, and I'm part of the Lower Town Underground Artists, who are literally underground. It's one of the newest gallery spaces, and it's in the Northern Warehouse building in Lowertown.
Terrific. Well, we're going to give a chance of each of the artists to have a segment, a spotlight. And I want to start with Liz.
Yay.
Liz, I thoroughly am appreciative and delighted that Liz is joining us. A few years back, we got to curate the district that Liz lives within, and we picked her art. Both Chad and I just loved it, so it's fun to get to know you and have you be part of our show.
Thank you so much. I'm
Now,
glad to be here.
the piece that we fell in love with was very geometrical,
Yes.
and then I found out today the story behind it, so tell me again.
Yeah, so absolutely. So my husband and I were living in Colorado, and we decided to leave our full-time jobs and make art for 4 months. And so we moved back to my small little hometown in western Nebraska, and we did just that. And while out there, I was influenced by powered parachutes because my father used to fly parachutes. And so that's what that series was based upon.
You know, it was very magical. It felt, we paired it with some rural pieces as well.
Yeah.
So it was fun to find out that you really were out in nature.
Yes.
And to find out it was a parachute. I just thought it was like almost a windmill or something, but it felt like it was very earthy. Even though your work has a lot of pastels and pinks and blues,
Yes.
there was something that drew me to nature with it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very much inspired by the landscape, and geographical identity is a really strong undertone in my work.
Identity. I went to your website, and
Yes.
identity is key.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about the work you're doing now.
So currently, I am exploring plants. I started this project. I do a lot of work in my sketchbook, and I call it the Liz Lang Sketchbook Project. If you want to find me on Instagram, it's a good spot to find me. But I explore plants, and I started that back in October as a way to get myself through a miserable Minnesota winter.
And you're still sketching.
Yes, unbeknownst to me that we would still be in it. So that's kind of the catalyst of the current body of work that I will be showing at the art crawl.
One of the statements as I looked at through your work was exploring reality and exploring our relationship to that reality and our identity.
Yes.
One piece that just spoke to me was this, I think of beautiful pink flowers in a blue sky, and you reversed it. You created these gorgeous blue flowers with this bright pink sky.
Yeah.
That just sort of helped me go through like Alice in Wonderland almost experience of looking at your expressions with counterintuitive.
Yeah, no, that's a great description. I'm definitely exploring things all whimsical right now with my work, and really thinking about color and how you can translate color in different aspects.
And then create surprise.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Is there a piece that really moves you that as you've been sketching, you come back to?
I think that theme of just the way that, naturally pink and green kind of are married together. And so just exploring that relationship.
Which is
through my
interesting
work.
because the piece that we picked had a lot of those pinks and greens.
Yes.
It just feels like that it popped out of the kaleidoscope and then moved over to the sketchbook.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you have some fun things happening at your building.
We
Tell us about
do.
the stuff that's going on there.
Yeah, we're super excited this year, or this spring. We have a couple of themed events happening. So Friday night, we're doing a date night.
Tell me about what that is.
Yes, so we have a 5-course tasting menu. It's a chef table.
I was kind of hoping food was going to be part of this.
Yes, and so we're still, I believe there's 2 to 3 seats left. They're $20 prepaid. So you can go to our website to find out that information, which is going to be the Carleton Artist Lofts Art Crawl.
And that's Friday?
Yes, Friday night. And then on Sunday, we're actually doing a children's theme day. And so today, and everyone's invited actually to come to the Carleton today, but we're going to be building a magpie garden between our buildings.
Okay,
And
so you got to tell, what is a mad pie?
Mag.
Oh, okay.
Magpie.
I had this like mad
Sorry.
pie. I had like cherries, angry. There we go. Magpie. Got it.
A magpie garden. And so essentially on Sunday, we're going to be doing a tea party in our magpie garden. So today, the weather, we were supposed to build it last weekend, but we all know what last weekend was like. So we're actually doing that today until 5 o'clock.
One of the things that we've talked about in the first show was how important it is for the whole family to
Yes.
get involved. You like having kids come to see your shows.
Absolutely. We love having children being there.
One of the things that I think is important in bringing children to art shows is to get them at an early age understanding that if they have an inspiration they can have a role model. But also, if they want to purchase something, I mean, I really love taking children to art shows and then encouraging them to pick something that they can take home. My parents did that for me. I started going to art shows, I think, when I was like 3 or 4 years old. And they were very good about, you need to invest in art, because when you invest in art, you're investing in the artists in our community. And that's one of the reasons that I feel very strongly that not only should we go to have fun, and there's lots of fun things to do, and see the wonderful art, but it's also a responsibility to keep our artists here is to invest in the art that they do. And there's so many different price points. There's art that is affordable for children to have, and they will treasure it and remember their experience.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Thank you for bringing that up. We're actually doing a make and take event too on Saturday where the children can come in and make May Day flowers.
Oh.
So
How
that'll be
perfect
something
is that?
fun for them to take away.
Well, I wanted to make sure I told the audience in the first hour, and if you're just joining us now, this is a 2-hour show all about art, and I'm having a great time. The way to go to look at all of the cool things that are happening is to go to stpaulartcrawl.org. There is a map that you'll see around the Twin Cities. And there's going to be a variety of things happening. I want to mention all the different districts while we have a chance at the end of the segment. You've got Lower Town, you've got Downtown, you've got West Side, you've got West 7th, you've got Cathedral Hill, you've got Merriam Park, you've got Midway, you've got Raymond Station, you've got South Como, you've got East Side. These are all great places to go. You're not going to be able to hit them all, but they're worth exploring. And some of the fun is just not knowing, just going to some place and then just exploring it too. So you don't have to prepare. I like to prepare, but you don't have to prepare because there's plenty of fun things to do. So in our next segment, we're going to be talking with Caroline about her art and her painting that she does, and a little bit more about what's happening in her building that we all should know about. So you're listening to Connections Radio Show here on AM 950, and we'll be right back after a few short announcements. We'll be listening for you, and we'll be waiting here.
What's it all for? Better now.
Connections Radio Show is all about tapping into our hardwired hunger to connect. We examine meaningful connections to ourselves, our community, and the world around us. By opening the door to innovative insights by a wide variety of interesting guests, we'll make the connections to something bigger than ourselves. Join me, Lori Fitz, your host of Connections Radio Show, and together we'll make the connections. Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Being a dog is awesome, except when you really gotta go, but you're stuck inside. That's why I had my human called the Urban Dog. Daily walks, field trips, play groups, one-on-one time, safe off-leash play, and pet sitting. I love being an Urban Dog.
The Urban Dog works with your schedule and can create a plan that fits your needs. The Urban Dog. Exercise, explore, socialize. Let the journey begin. Call 651-231-6333. That's 651-231-6333.
Burger Mo's is the perfect neighborhood gathering spot before and after Excel Center events or anytime. Mo is serious about burgers, offering 20 fresh, never frozen varieties. Burger Mo's also offers delicious appetizers, soups, salads, as well as unburgers, dogs, paninis, shakes, and desserts. Not to mention more than 60 beers on tap and happy hours twice daily. Burger Mo's is located at 242 West 7th Street in St. Paul with plenty of free parking and online at burgermos.com.
This is Bill McLesley, owner of IP House in Minneapolis. Many businesses don't know their cloud server is unsupported until they actually need support. It takes only one bad experience in dealing with the big name providers to see why I started IP House. We provide support no matter which cloud you're on, theirs or ours. Our staff is located right here in the Twin Cities and is on call 24 hours a day. And if you don't want the cloud, we can help you there too. Call us 612-337-6337.
The Spring St. Paul Art Crawl, presented by the St. Paul Art Collective, will be running April 27th, 28th, and 29th. This is a must-do experience that you will love. Over the weekend, you'll have the chance to explore a wide variety of art while touring through local artist studios, lofts, and galleries. Hosting over 350 artists, up for purchase will be paintings, photography, pottery, sculpture, fiber arts, and more. The Art Crawl sprawls over 34 locations. Join the Art Crawl and discover outstanding art for you to own. When you buy local art, you're providing to artists so that they may continue to create the art we love. The Metro Transit is supporting the local art community with free transit passes. Download your pass to ride buses and light rail for free during the Art Crawl. Be sure to get details at the stpaulartcrawl.org. That's the stpaulartcrawl.org. Let's go crazy and let's talk about art. Because we've got the Art Crawl, the St. Paul Art Crawl coming up next weekend, April 26th, 27th, 28th. Check it out, stpaulartcrawl.org for all the crazy fun things to do. And we have some wonderful artists that are here today to talk about the St. Paul Art Crawl. We have, and I'm going to reintroduce just in case you've just joined us, we had Liz Lang talk to us about her art in the first segment. Welcome, Liz.
Thank you.
Thank you for all the wonderful paintings that you do.
Thank you.
And we've got Caroline Mecklin, who's also a painter.
Thank you for having us here.
Absolutely, Caroline. We're going to be featuring your art during this segment. And then next segment, Emily Gray Kohler will be talking about her printmaking.
Thank you.
And then in our last segment, we're going to be celebrating districts and district tours and what it means to run the St. Paul Art Crawl. I have, Brenda looks at me like, oh, really? Is that what we're doing? Yeah, surprise. Yes, we are, Brenda Brasso. Welcome. We're glad you're here.
Thank you.
And Tim Wick.
I am unsurprised.
But Tim has a comic touch. He is the artistic director of the Fearless Comedy Productions that is supporting the Art Crawl this year.
That's what we're doing.
Yes.
Carrying it on our shoulders. Well, 434 sub it.
Oh, there we go. You're going to be giving some district tours and letting folks know some of the ways to think about checking out the art.
Yes. That is the plan.
And that's going to take place on Saturday and Sunday.
Saturday and Sunday at 1 o'clock from 1 to 3:30-ish.
And that's at the Raymond area?
Right.
Raymond Station?
Raymond Station.
That district. Terrific. So I'm going to come back to you now, my friend Caroline. You've been on our show before, so I'm glad to have you come back.
Thank you.
You do lovely figurative work.
Yes.
And you've got this gorgeous flamenco dancer that I've noticed lately.
Yes.
Red and black and bold and
large.
Sexy.
I'm glad you think so. That
Yes.
was the intent.
Yes. She's got kind of a power to her. Mm-hmm. So tell me about when you started as an artist, how you knew you were an artist.
Well, I decided to be an artist when I was 5 years old. And so you could hardly say that I decided to be an artist. I think I always was. And that's where I noticed the recognition. And being kind of a stubborn person, I, against all odds and, no background of any sort, decided that that's who I was. So it's really not what I decided to do, it's who I am, and then just becoming that in the next 60-some years.
Mm. Have you always liked painting, or has there been other forms that you like as well?
Well, really, I've loved all different forms of art. I've done ceramics, and I have a printmaking, MFA in printmaking, but my printmaking kept getting more and more painterly. And everything has been on the basis of drawing. I do ceramics. I had a ceramics show, a collaboration with my daughter, Liz Pakachik, at the Northern Clay Center this past year that was just really wonderful, where she made the pots, and then I did figures on the pots in ceramic medium, and that was really very successful, and I'd like to continue with that. So really and I've done sculpture as an undergraduate at Macalester College. I was the bronze casting assistant and did bronze sculptures and helped doing the pours, which was kind of a woman power thing at that time, way back when. So really it's just, but there comes a point if you're going to be really serious that you have to kind of pick one thing, and then you have to focus if you're going to do something really well. And that's kind of, the figure has always been something that's been, and people have always been central to me. So that's what I do now and have done for the past 30 years.
Are you drawn to certain people that you want to create on the canvas, or how do you make your decisions of what figures you want to paint?
You know, it's kind of interesting because sometimes people think it's somebody who's interesting or somebody who's gorgeous. And really, I think that what I ask people, because I've done a lot of figure drawing and hired models and various things, and I like working with people who have a presence and an awareness for their body in space, because the figure is all about body in space. And so it's hard to put a finger on it. It's one of those things that you recognize when you see it. It's the kind of thing like, people who if they just slouch in a chair, you say, oh, that's a great pose.
Stay
there, instead of people who take on an air. And that's what makes dancing, the flamenco dancer in particular, who's Tara Weatherly of Sendero Flamenco. And she was one of the subjects for a Minnesota State Arts grant that I had that was called the Shakers and Makers of Lowertown, which is people who are creating arts in Lowertown. And so I did portraits of people drawn from life drawings, and then I went back and did large portraits of each one in my studio, and that's where that came out of.
Your pieces strike me as ones that have energy to them. I mean, I've seen figurative pieces that have a peaceful quality that, but yours have something that vibrates, something that has an energy to them. Is there something that you're exploring, not just what they look like, but their energetic presence? I mean, it just seems to come through.
You say that so well.
Thank you. It's true.
It is true. And yes, and again, some of that is because I'm a visual person. I mean, I like to talk, and anybody who knows me knows that. But sometimes it's hard to express the essence of something verbally, and it's hard to put into exact words, because really when you have somebody who's looking at something, the viewer, they should feel it, even if they shouldn't be able to put it in words. And sometimes even for myself, I would have a hard time putting it exactly into words, and I could talk about it, but really the proof is in the visual image itself.
And how you connect with it.
And how you connect with it. Yeah, absolutely.
Now, you mentioned that you did this as part of a grant. There's also a program that's taking place during the art crawl. Share with us about that special event coming up.
Well, thank you. The Minnesota State Arts Board, which is in Park Square Court at 400 Sibley, they are having a show that's going to be running through the summer, but they're opening it and having an opening, which is open to all, on Friday night at 7 o'clock. And it's a story about immigrants who have into the United States who have created art, or who have artists who have done work about immigrants. And it's kind of specific. They took 10 years of the Minnesota State Art Grants, people who have won the visual individual artist grants. And if you did work during your grant that was about immigration, or if you were an immigrant, which of course you would have been an immigrant before and after you got the grant.
By the way.
It
doesn't change.
It doesn't change.
Just because you got the grant.
Absolutely. But I was lucky enough to have done got the grant that I did, and there's a fabulous person who helped to create Lowertown back in the 80s named Wei Ming Lu. And he is an immigrant from China, and he has written books about urban planning, and he made art Lowertown what it is in basis, and I did a lovely portrait in the same vein of for that grant of Wei Ming, and so that's going to be featured, that and then the life drawing that I did that I created the portrait from as well.
During this time when immigration is such a hot political topic, and it's so many challenges, so many heartbreaks about not honoring how our country was created and who we are as an immigrant people. It's wonderful to hear that we are celebrating it in our art and celebrating it in the St. Paul Art Crawl. So thank you for being a part of that and letting us know about it, because I think it's very important for us to celebrate the multicultural part of our Minnesota. The Twin Cities are wildly and wonderfully multicultural.
Right. And if we forget that, we really will forget our soul.
Yes.
And maybe even lose it, and we don't want to do that.
No. And with that, we're moving on to the next segment. Don't lose your soul, and don't lose this show, because we're going to be right back after a few short announcements, because we're going to hear about wonderful printmaking and flowers and gardens and all sorts of cool things. So stay tuned. We'll be right back after a few short announcements.
Hi, it's Tom Hartman. You know, Continental Diamond is special for a lot of reasons. The owners are Jimmy and Helene Pessis, a husband and wife team who had a dream to open their own store more than 30 years ago. They've built a business that is the gold standard. The readers of Minnesota Bride magazine have named Continental Diamond the best jeweler for the last 7 years. Why? Amazing, friendly, no-pressure customer service, a selection of fine diamonds and design jewelry unlike anywhere else, and the fresh-baked chocolate chip cookies are pretty great, too. Continental Diamond in St. Louis Park and at continentaldiamond.com.
Saturdays at 1 p.m., you have a chance at a fresh start, a new beginning. Hi, everybody. This is Freddie Bell, host of New Beginnings. Our show features the concerns of America's 78 million baby boomers in employment, finance, health and nutrition, spirituality, and even entertainment. Every day is a chance for a fresh start. Join us Saturdays at 1 p.m. for New Beginnings with Freddie Bell on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Finding the best foods the Twin Cities has to offer is easy with eatlocalminnesota.com. Offering the top local and independently owned restaurants, eatlocalminnesota.com has everything from burger joints to cocktails and fine dining. Crooner's Lounge and Supper Club invites you to check out their beautiful facilities for your next special occasion. Book your wedding reception, retirement party, business dinner, or other special event with confidence, knowing their expert staff and award-winning chef will make it a big hit with your guests. Call today to get a quote, 763-571-9020. Lowry Hill Meats, located at 1934 Hennepin Avenue in Minneapolis, are friends with their farmers. Relying on regionally sourced, clean, quality meats, they take pride in their aged beef, skin-on pork, house-made sausages, and air-dried poultry. Their house-made sandwiches should not be missed. Find them online at LowryHillMeats.com.
Hello, humans. This is me, Ellie Krug with Ellie 2.0 on Monday mornings at 7:30. This Monday, I'll talk about Linda Brown, the Brown of what may be the most famous Supreme Court case of all time, Brown versus Board of Education. Linda died recently, giving us reason to pause about her legacy as an idealist and as a symbol of what's right about America. Tune in to learn more. I've got a vision of a better world where everyone has a place at the table. Ellie 2.0 on AM 950.
Connections Radio Show is all about tapping into our hardwired hunger to connect. We examine meaningful connections to ourselves, our community, and the world around us. By opening the door to innovative insights by a wide variety of interesting guests, we'll make the connections to something bigger than ourselves. Join me, Lori Fitz, your host of Connections Radio Show, and together we'll make the connections. Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
With your AM 950 weather, this is Eric Nelson. Today will be mostly sunny with a high near 56. Tonight, mostly clear with a low around 34. Sunday, mostly sunny with a high near 60. And Sunday night, partly cloudy with a low around 39. Monday, a high of 66 and a low of 44. One myth about solar is that it's too expensive and you need a lot of money down. Truth, solar is available for little or no money down. And if you have a great site for your solar, it might even put money away on a monthly basis. So visit allenergysolar.com and you can start saving today.
Welcome. We're still stuck on the soul question. Do we have our soul? If you hadn't joined us, this is your first join. We did leave on the last segment wondering if our soul would be intact, but art does renew the soul.
Yes.
And appreciating immigrants is a beautiful thing. So thank you for the work that you're doing, Caroline.
Thank you.
With celebrating immigrants and saving our souls for our multicultural, multi-art, multi-celebration for communities. You're listening to Connections Radio Show, and I'm Lori Fitz, your host, and I've got some wonderful artists. I just mentioned Caroline. Caroline Mecklin was telling us about her art in the last segment. Welcome, Caroline.
Thank you.
Oh, we're so glad you're here. Liz Lang, one of my picks when I curated a few years back. Liz, loved your art. You have a lot of fun environmental and colorful spring colors, vibrant colors. Yep. We have Tim Wick and Brenda Bresso.
I support immigrants, and I sold my soul for $1 5 years ago.
Wow, you sold it not too cheap, apparently.
I got what I felt it was worth. That's all I can say.
And Tim's supporting the Art Crawl this year, doing district tours. And you'll, have the fun of surprise when he takes you on a district tour of the arts, which is at the Raymond Station.
We will start, the Raymond Station. We're starting at the Carlton Lofts
Terrific.
at 1 o'clock on Saturday and Sunday.
Brenda,
Hello.
co-director of the St. Paul Art Crawl. Pleasure working with you this year. This is
Thank
new for
you.
you. This is your first year.
It is my first season.
And has it been a good one for you?
Oh, yeah. Yep. Learned a lot.
Well, we have to thank Brenda for bringing us all these artists. She has been the coordinator. So if you've enjoyed, which I assume you have, because I certainly have, all the wonderful artists, thank you, Brenda, for arranging for all of these lovely people to join us today.
You're welcome.
And Emily Gray Kohler. Emily is going to share with us about your printmaking, and I am deeply interested in your bugs. Tell me about the bugs that you explore.
So I'm a big gardener. I love to garden, get my hands in the dirt, have things grow, all of that. And I also am really fascinated by the mechanisms and the creatures that help our plants grow and that allow us to produce, produce and beautiful flowers and all of that sort of thing. And I have a lot of friends and family who, occasionally they sort of have that feeling about the creepy crawly. And so
I have friends that will call me to come down to their home to help get a spider out of the shower.
Oh, yeah.
That I have no problem with bugs, but I do have friends that do have bug problems.
Yeah. So this newest series of work that I'm working on is about, I call it my Garden Beasts series. And it's all beneficial insects and arachnids that I have observed in my gardens. And so it's sort of intended to kind of destigmatize them and celebrate them a little bit. A lot of the works sort of have a portrait quality to them. So it's, this close-up of a bold jumping spider on the post of my garden. So, that sort of thing.
Arachnids can be your friend.
They can.
So what drew you to the arachnids?
Oh, spiders are fascinating. Well, and not all arachnids or not all spiders. Oh, how do I want to say this? There are other arachnids like harvestmen, which are not technically spiders, that are also important in our garden. So that's the reason why I'm saying arachnids as opposed to specifically spiders. But spiders are an interesting case because they tend to, for the most part, sort of be the top predator in your garden. So they're the ones who are going to eat your aphids, and they'll eat everything, really, that they can get their hands on. But they're an interesting little creature, and they're also generally somewhat solitary. They sort of have this lone wolf thing going on. And they're fascinating little creatures. And they also can be quite beautiful.
I have this vision of this arachnid howling at the moon. It's this sort of lone wolf staying by its side.
Although, interestingly, on that, not an arachnid, but there is lacewings, which are really beautiful. Their larvae are called aphid wolves.
Ooh, I didn't even know it. I knew there was something that drew me to them. Now, some of these bugs are good for your garden, and some of these bugs are not good for your garden. So do you have advocates for like the good garden bugs and like the villains for the bad garden bugs?
So I have mostly been, portraying what we would call the beneficial insects.
There we go.
Which usually for us would mean the insects that help us to produce, garden produce and flowers and so on and so forth, keep our plants healthy. However, it is an ecosystem, and those beneficial insects also need to eat the aphids. So the aphids kind of have to be there in a sense, but they're
sacrificial if nothing else.
Yeah, in a sense. And then, the other thing is there are some bugs out there that sort of do dual duty. So as larvae, a lot of butterfly and moth larvae are actually predatory, and they eat your kale and so on and so forth when they're in caterpillar stage.
Not pleased.
Not
Love
pleased,
my kale.
But then when they're adults, they pollinate your garden and your flowers and help to create more produce in your garden and more flowers. So there's sort of this two sides of the coin. I have chosen to sort of represent them in a positive light, although I'm sure there's definitely some people out there who are like not a fan of the tomato worms.
Took my tomatoes and my kale, but
yeah,
that's okay.
They do produce, most of them become sphinx moths, however, which are an important night pollinator. So anything.
I just love the names.
Yeah.
So I have a question for you in terms of being drawn to this. You then create them in a print format.
Yes. So I do mostly reduction woodcuts, although I also use some other forms of printmaking like collograph and dry point and so forth. But generally speaking, reduction woodcuts is a reductive process where you carve away from the block of wood the first layer, the lightest layer, print that on a sheet of paper, and then carve away what you just printed, and then ink the next layer, print that, ink the next layer, print that. So in the end, you wind up essentially with a reduced block. All you have left is whatever that final layer was.
So you won't do multiple pieces.
There are multiples, but it has to start out with however many I start with. It's finite from that.
So once you're done with that finite number,
that's it.
The block's gone.
In print shop lingo, they're called suicide prints.
Suicide prints of the aphids. It's almost like a Batman movie.
Speaking of your soul.
Exactly. It's all together. I also wanted to mention that you did this great sharing with us earlier about sort of the equal rights among these bugs. That, bumblebees and honeybees and butterflies get a lot of attention in the garden, but you're kind of in there for making sure that the little bugs that people may shy away from.
Yeah, so I've been thinking a lot about, obviously bees are really important, and all of those sorts of pollinators. But there's been a big movement towards recognizing our native pollinators, specifically our native bees. If you don't know, honeybees are actually not native, and so looking at bumblebees, looking at some of our native sweat bees, the little green, metallic green bees that you might see around your garden.
I didn't know there was a name for those.
Yeah, it's a really, really large group of insects.
And they're different from gnats.
Oh, yes. They're actually bees.
Okay.
They kind of look like little green, maybe like flying ants. Okay. And sometimes they're so tiny they're really hard to see, but they are really important pollinators, especially for little tiny flowers. They can get right inside the flower and get lots of pollen all over there.
So have you always been engaged in looking at the environment as well as being passionate about the arts?
Yeah, so my work has mostly dealt with environmental processes and conservation and nature in general. I also do some, like landscape pieces that are just beautiful nature type thing. But about 2 years ago, I got a Minnesota State Arts Board grant that looked at invasive plants, actually. So this new bug series is actually like after that. But the invasive plant series was looking at our relationship to those plants, and sort of the plants are basically doing what they were meant to do in nature. They're surviving, they're the fittest in this particular environment, and we, the humans, are the ones who've sort of put them in the position to be more fit than our native counterparts.
Invasive. There's a couple trees that I know that are invasive that my husband goes crazy when he sees them and wants them gone.
Yeah.
Is your position to help rid them or at least find containment for them?
I think that it's a little unrealistic to think we can rid areas of some plants where we have caught it fast enough. We can get ahead of the game, but things like purple loosestrife that we're living with that forever now. I mean, it's been here for about 200 years, and it's marched across the country from the East Coast. It's now in Washington State. So, we're slowly doing some things, and there's some beetles that we've introduced that might actually eat them, and so there are things we can do that can make it less of a monoculture, but we're probably never going to completely eliminate it. So I'm a fan of the idea of being realistic about what we can do, but I also think this is as much about education for us as gardeners as well, because we're often the first to say, oh, that's a beautiful flower, I want it in my garden. Yeah. And we have, over time, as gardeners, often been the culprit of bringing some invasive plants into our communities.
And missing the prairie. For a long time, I think folks, when I grew up, the prairie was considered weeds. And I adore the prairie. I mean, there's just beautiful, beautiful pieces that are coming back now, but you have to be thoughtful. Yes. And you need to have education, like what you're providing through your art. And I always love when there's a connection between art and science or art and the environment that helps us look at things in a new way and helps us understand in a new way. So I love your close-up and personal bugs.
Thank you.
So tell me about, I hear there's an event happening at the studio that you're going to be at?
Yeah, so I'm a guest artist. My personal studio is actually up in White Bear Lake. I have a public studio up there, but I'm a guest artist of Josephine Geiger over on the east side for the St. Paul Art Crawl. And Josie is going to be doing a event on Saturday at 12 p.m. It's a mini class of fused glass. It's $30 if you want. And then also on Saturday at 1 and Sunday at 2, Lynn Wood, who's a potter we're going to have at the space, will be doing textured pottery demonstrations as well.
Now, how long have you been doing your artwork at the Geiger?
I've been showing with Josie for Art Crawl, I think 3 years now, for the spring crawl. And yeah.
It's a little smaller location.
It is. It's above. Josie is a former architect, actually, and she built her studio above her garage. And so you, depending on which side you come from, you'll actually walk through her gardens, if there are any at this time, with our late spring. And you'll walk through her gardens and visit her studio space. And there's, I think, 5 artists, including Josie, at that location. So it's kind of an intimate little space, but it's a great opportunity to be able to speak to each of us and be close, and also it's sort of a breathing room space from the, kind of bigger spaces where it's hard to see everything.
And I want to keep making sure folks know that we really encourage you to ask questions of the artists.
Absolutely.
This is a great way to kick it off by having a conversation here on AM 950 Radio, but you can do the same thing. Ask artists what their process is. Ask them what they want to be asked. Ask them what kind of good questions are there to ask. But go see the St. Paul Art Crawl. And for more information on that, it's the stpaulartcrawl.org. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Dr. Scott Shamblat from Shamblat Family Dentistry. We're the fear-free, get-you-out-of-pain-now dental office.
And I'm Rachel Shamblat. Did you know a lot of people are afraid of the dentist? You don't need to be afraid of my dad. He makes going to the dentist comfortable and even fun.
We don't care if you're a dental regular or haven't seen a dentist in years. We just want to make you comfortable and get you out of pain.
If you don't see my dad, please see another dentist. Take care of your teeth because they're the only ones you get. Call 1-800-FIX-MY-TEETH or visit fixmyteeth.us.
Enjoy a delicious home-cooked breakfast or lunch away from the kitchen at Milda's Cafe, now open 7 days a week. Milda's Cafe has been cooking up family favorites since 1964. Grab a coffee and sit down for a delicious Philly scramble, house-made rolls, or Denver omelet. Stop in for lunch where you'll find authentic Finnish pasties every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Open weekdays 6 to 3, weekends 8 to 2. Milda's Cafe on Glenwood Avenue, 4 blocks east of Penn.
This is Bill McLesley, owner of IP House in Minneapolis. I started IP House with the mission of making technology simple again. Over the last 10 years, my team has helped hundreds of businesses with their technology. We provide on-site support and technical strategy for businesses just like yours. If your technology has you feeling on edge, call us. We take the mystery out of technology and make things simple again. IP House, supporting businesses just like yours every day. 612-337-6337.
At Warner Stellian, we love appliances and our customers. They demand the best, and we wouldn't have it any other way. In appreciation, we put hundreds of appliances on sale at our lowest price, which we guarantee. Now through April 30th, choose from laundry pairs, dishwashers, French door refrigerators, grills, and more kitchen suites than you can count, all at our guaranteed lowest price. Our trusted delivery and installation specialists will get your appliances delivered and installed fast and right. We're Warner Stellian, Minnesota's appliance specialists.
The Spring St. Paul Art Crawl, presented by the St. Paul Art Collective, will be running April 27th, 28th, and 29th. This is a must-do experience that you will love. Over the weekend, you'll have the chance to explore a wide variety of art while touring through local artist studios, lofts, and galleries. Hosting over 350 artists, up for purchase will be paintings, photography, pottery, sculpture, fiber arts, and more. The Art Crawl sprawls over 34 locations. Join the Art Crawl and discover outstanding art for you to own. When you buy local art, you're providing to artists so that they may continue to create the art we love. The Metro Transit is supporting the local art community with free transit passes. Download your pass to ride buses and light rail for free during the art crawl. Be sure to get details at the stpaulartcrawl.org. That's the stpaulartcrawl.org. Oh, we're back! We're back and we're celebrating Prince. We're celebrating the St. Paul Art Crawl. We're celebrating our soul. If you've missed it, we've been exploring the soulful reasons for celebrating art. And you can also save your soul by going next week to the St. Paul Art Crawl, which is April 26th, 27th, 28th. This is the end of 2 hours of celebrating art. I can't think of anything more wonderful than to be able to celebrate art with great artists. So thank you for everyone who's here today. And I'm going to introduce you to the audience in case you've just tuned in. We're going to start with Caroline Mecklin.
Hi.
Hi. She's a great painter. She's got her stuff at which gallery again?
The Lower Town Underground Artists Gallery below the, it's in the Northern Warehouse building.
Terrific.
In the lower level, which we prefer to call the underground.
Go to the underground. And you also have another piece that's up about immigrants.
I do, and that's at the Minnesota State Arts Board at Park Square Court, 400 Sibley, and the opening, which is open to the public, is 7 o'clock on Friday. It's called Journeys Here.
Terrific. And that's at the Park Square Theater?
No, Park Square Court.
Court, okay. Near the Park Square Theater, probably.
Right, 400 Sibley.
Yep. And we have got Liz Lang, an artist, a painter.
Good morning.
Who was featured on a catalog that we got to pick when we were doing the St. Paul Art Crawl as sponsors. There are books out there, there's catalogs out there to look for to see all of the great art. And I'm going to, for those of you who are on Facebook Live, you can see it now. Gorgeous, green, with all kinds of paintings that you can look up the artist, or you can look up the art form, or you can look up the district. Very cool stuff. So Liz, thank you for being here and sharing about your art. We also have Emily. Emily, who has shared with us about bugs. Emily Gray Kohler. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
And thank you for sharing about the suicide print. And in case you don't know, that's a special type of print
woodcut
that you do.
Yes.
That destroys the woodcut by the end.
Yes, it does.
But, then the prints are even more precious because that's it. That's
They
all
are
there is.
Absolutely finite.
And they're great pictures of. I not only like your bugs, but I have to admit I also like your birches. Your birches are
Thank
very
you.
lovely.
Thank you.
And well worth going to your location. You're at the Geiger.
Yep, I'm at Josephine Geiger's studio over on the east side.
Please go see her art. And then ask her about the stuff that we've been talking about bugs and woods and environment. And she's very knowledgeable for both our environment as well as making art. So thank you.
Thank you.
And now we're going to feature during this segment all about the Fun District Tours.
Fun District Tours.
Tim Wick,
Hi.
you are the artistic director of the Fearless Comedy Productions.
Sort of more like a ringmaster, but yeah, that's fine. We'll call it artistic director.
So this is new for you. You're jumping in and joining the fun.
Yeah, well, that's how Fearless Comedy works. Somebody says, hey, I've got this idea. Do you want to do this? And I say yes. And then I go to the company and say, all right, I just said we're going to do this. Who wants to? And the great thing about Fearless is somebody always says, sure, me. I'll give it a shot.
Terrific.
So that's what we're doing. We're going to lead a district tour of the Raymond Station District.
Well, a little history on this. Brenda and I had gotten together to talk about, who was going to be on the show and a little bit about AM 950. Brenda Brasso, who is the co-director, is joining us today too. Hi, Brenda.
Hello.
And we were sitting in the Black Dog Cafe, and they're like, oh, we really want someone to do a district tour. And boy, some of these things are pretty funny. I went, oh, I know who we should ask. We should ask the Fearless Comedy Productions.
Because they won't say no.
Well, there's that. But also
We appreciate that.
But also you live in St. Paul.
I do. I was born in St. Paul. I've been in St. Paul for most of my life.
So you have a heart for it.
I love St. Paul. It's a wonderful city.
So tell me about some of your plans.
Well, we are still formulating them because that's how we roll. But our plan is to do a tour between 1 and about 3:30. And we're going to go to 4 locations in the Raymond Station District. We're going to start at the Carlton Lofts. We're going to visit Liz. So that's going to be great. Then we're going to go to the Midway Triangle building. We're going to go to the Dow building, and we're going to end at Vandalia Tower. And then we're going to go to a brewery. And if you know anything about people in theater, that is the most important stop, much as we like art. So we plan to just take some time as we walk to talk a little bit about the history of the buildings. We have some plans to do a little, I think we're going to talk about some role playing, give our performers an opportunity to ask questions that artists don't want to hear, and perhaps provide answers that artists might want to provide. So, and I'm sure all the artists here can associate with questions like, so is this price negotiable?
Wrong.
Why is it this much?
Or how much does it cost to rent here? I mean, you really don't need to know that.
Can I use your bathroom?
No.
Yeah.
there are public bathrooms.
Yeah. So we just want to kind of give people an idea, get them into the life of an artist from the perspective of an audience member.
Yeah, I think it's really important to keep in mind you're going into someone's home and they're inviting you as a guest. Well, that's a great privilege to be a guest. But you can also be a good guest by asking interesting questions that you want, that the art speaks to you. And if it speaks to you in weird ways, that's even better. Share what your reaction is. But also I think it'll be fun to have something like your group giving us permission to go in, because sometimes there's some fear in going in even to the studios.
Yeah, I think it's just a natural thing with human beings that when you walk into a stranger's space, it's hard to talk to that stranger. And I know some of the artists. I now know these three lovely women in the room, but I know a few of the artists on the walking tour. We're going to be visiting with Kevin Caulfield. He has a shop out at the Renaissance Festival. I've worked out at the Renaissance Festival for 33 years. So, and I know Kevin quite well. Also, I saw Delane and James are in the hallway at the Dow building? They're at the Carlton Lofts. So there are some people that we know along the tour. And you just, even out of the Renaissance Festival, people will walk into a shop and won't interact with the artist. And so what we want to do is help give permission to interact with the artist about their art. And I think that's the most difficult thing, the thing that we can help provide that bridge, that idea that you can ask an artist, just as we've been talking this morning about, what's your inspiration? Tell us about how you create these prints. These are things that I think people want to know, but they don't necessarily feel comfortable asking.
And they don't want to seem like it's the wrong question.
Right.
And there are some wrong questions, but it has nothing to do with art. It's about being invasive. So we're just trying to encourage folks to be good neighbors and get to know the artists throughout the St. Paul area. And I want to thank the St. Paul Art Crawl for partnering with us, letting us be a part of the good work that you're doing. Thank you, Brenda.
Oh, we love you being part of it.
Oh, we love all the artists, and we love being part of the opportunity to share in showcasing the art. So go to stpaulartcrawl.org. All the good information's there. You can have free Metro passes on the 28th and 29th. The Art Crawl goes from April 27th, 28th, 29th. It is a blast. And if you've never done it, go do it. If you've done it, there's plenty more to see. So I'll look forward to seeing you there, because I will be there. Have a great week, and see you at the Art Fair.